The teacher in me? Yes? Okay. It's been a good day so far, huh? Definitely. All right, well, my name is Andrea Michnik. I work for actually a study abroad company located in Austin, Texas called International Studies Abroad. So I'm still in the higher education space, just not in traditional academia. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Andrea Genevieve. And then I also have a Twitter account for ISA, which is Andrea ISA Abroad. So I'm two personalities online. And I don't have any slides today. I just have my iPad. So I'll probably go through this sort of quickly, but hopefully not as quickly as Adam. And you can bear with me throughout this. So number one, why am I here? Well, Texas was really hot, and I thought I would get out of it for a bit, and it backfired because it's just as hot here. But I'm here on behalf of ISA, and I'm also here because I'm an educator also. I'm an adjunct at St. Edward's University in Austin, Texas, where I teach public relations and social media marketing. So I wear two hats in that regard. I work for profit, and then I also am an educator. I wanted to also let you know quickly about an organization I belong to called Social Media Club, EDU. Is anybody familiar with it? Raise of hands. I see a couple. What about Social Media Club? Is anybody a part of Social Media Club? Okay, great. Well, if you don't know about it, Social Media Club EDU is sort of a subsidiary of Social Media Club, and I have more information about it. It's going to be over in this news lounge, but I'm part of this group that's trying to bridge the gap between new media technology, social media, and higher education. So if that's something that you're a part of, we would love to have you come be part of our network of collaborators, and like I said, we can connect later and talk a little bit more about that. So today, I'm here talking about real alerts in real time, how to use Twitter to engage audiences on emergency and crisis information. And I'm sure you've noticed in the past 8 months, we've had disastrous snowstorms, devastating earthquakes, all sorts of political protests, tornado warnings, all of these things happening around the globe and also here in the US. And journalists and reporters are now working to present this type of information as quickly as possible because it is an emergency situation. Oftentimes, they use the help of citizen journalists or iReporters, and this is the news junkie in me. Today is actually the 5th anniversary of the CNN iReporter, so you should check that out. But let me ask you this. If you're walking down the street and you notice a robbery, or you see a store closing, or you notice traffic, do you write about it? Do you notify your social networks? Because I do. And I do that because I know that that's something really valuable to those other people. They want to know, go this other route when you're trying to drive home because there's traffic. The same can be said for emergencies and alerts. And as educators and communicators, we should probably pay attention to this new model of notifying people about emergencies. Take a second and think about those really important events that have happened in the past 8 months. How did you learn about them? I know I learned about them on Twitter, but like I said, I'm a Twitter geek, so that's probably the way I learned about everything. But did you hear about it from someone? Did you see it on TV? Was it put inside of one of your social network news feeds? How did you learn about it, and how quickly did you learn about it? That's pretty important. Why can't news in higher education also travel just as quickly? And it can, and I know some institutions that are actually doing this. Today, higher ed organizations should all have a crisis communication plan, and I stress should because I know some probably don't. And if you do, you must likely use a third-party application in order to disseminate these messages, whether it's through email, SMS texting, public service announcements, radio, or web alert. And some institutions might even have their own internal system for dispelling this information. But what if we could use technology and have a real person to communicate these issues in real time, a face behind these alerts in case there were questions or immediate updates? At International Studies Abroad, we've started using Twitter for this very reason. All of our communication focuses on the real human person behind them. You'll never call us and not talk to a real person. You'll never write an email that has an automated response. There is a real person behind all of our social networks. For us, focusing on these real people behind the technology not only builds our brand, but it also shows our stakeholders and our parents that we really care about our students and we want to make sure we know what they're doing at all times. So in May of this year, we launched this new initiative called ISA Worldwide Alerts. And each week, our academic affairs departments meets and they review global warnings and international travel alerts from the US State Department. They then give us this information. We work with our communications team, and the message flows through our nice, lovely channels and finally out to our social networks. Adding social networks to our crisis communication plan ensures that our message sees the most amount of people. We want as many eyeballs as possible to see this information, especially when it's dealing with information on such a global scale. And Twitter is great for this because it has a global reach. It's disseminated quickly, easy, and all at the same time. So you don't have waves of people finding out at different times. So-and-so didn't get their email, or I have to wait 10 minutes to get this text message. Twitter allows this message to go out at the same time to anybody, anywhere. And if you want, I invite you to check out our hashtag. It's ISA Worldwide Alerts. I know it's really long. We're working on it. It's only been 3 months that we've been testing this out, but I invite you to take a look at it, see some of the things that we've been talking about, and I would really invite you to give your feedback. We've also installed a Twitter search widget on our Worldwide Alerts page in case our audience isn't aware that we are tweeting about these things. So you can go to the Worldwide Alerts page, read the latest update, and then also see the people within my company who've been tweeting about it. So it's, again, another way to push this information. I also want to point out that we use this hashtag only in emergency situations. We're tweeting about all sorts of information all the time, and this is something we use on very, very special occasions. So we're not sitting there tweeting about emergency alerts every single second of every day. This hashtag is specific to these special occasions. We've tweeted about airports closing, we've tweeted about volcanoes erupting, schools closing, roads closing, all types of things. So like I said, I invite you to look at it and let me know what you think. We have a team that manages our social network, so it's not just me. We have a couple other people in our office. So like I said previously, there's a real person behind all of these messages. So if a student or a parent has a question, we're right there answering them immediately, whether it is on Facebook or on Twitter or over the phone. I wanted to let you know that there are other higher ed institutions who are also using Twitter for real-time alerts. The University of Central Florida, for example, they tweet road closings and building maintenance schedules. And you can find more examples at their username, UCF Newsroom. Texas A&M is another great example. They're a higher ed community who's embracing Twitter for emergencies and have a specific handle that deals just with emergencies, and that's TAMU code maroon. They post alerts like building fires, a suspicious figure on campus, and a tornado warning. All important information to anybody on that campus, and that one is updated regularly on almost a daily basis. Recently, I found an article from 2010 about the Florida International University alert systems, and it was written by a student for their student newspaper. And the article talked about the inefficiency of their campus alert system. And I apologize if anybody is from FIU, but this is an example I really wanted to give. And a student actually died as a result of this inefficient system that they had. So from a student perspective, they're also worried about this. And they believe that their system is broken, and they express that through their student newspaper medium. Another example from 2010, a shooter was reported on the University of Texas Austin campus. And this incident is really interesting because it led the police force on campus to actually start using Twitter and Facebook on their own to just post updates about what was happening in their department. The campus police and the security divided up this responsibility for updating Twitter networks, and in less than 24 hours, their 400 followers grew to over 10,000. The interesting thing about that is they didn't lose any of those followers. Those people continued to follow this Twitter handle because they knew that it had this accurate, valuable information. And finally, I wanted to talk about false alarms when dealing with campus alert systems. There's always a possibility for cracks in the system. Technology breaks down, we know this. The two examples I wanted to give for that were the University of Illinois and the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Both accidentally published false alarms earlier this year in 2011 through SMS, text, and email. But the University of Nebraska used Twitter to apologize for it. UNL News tweeted, "No alert. We are checking the system, and it was inadvertently sent. Some people did get calls. Sorry." So I urge you all to think about how you could use Twitter at your organization, your institution, on your campus to communicate these emergency messages to your audiences. Think about the pros and the cons, and if it is something that could work for you, or maybe not. whether it's spotting figures on campus, reporting potholes that need to be fixed by maintenance, extreme weather activities, school closings, whatever it might be. With Twitter, the possibility for real alerts is endless, and it's really up to you to determine the best way to use it. And that's all I have. So if anybody has any questions, we have a couple minutes here. Does anybody use this on their campus, or do you remember seeing any other institutions using real-time alerts? Yeah. What school is it, or what institution? Brandeis University? And is it part of your school's university police department or your newsroom? Do you know where you get them from? Part of the police department? Great. Anybody else? Over here? Texas A&M, yes. Excellent. Texas A&M is a great leader in this space. Over here? Social Media Club EDU, yes, definitely. SMC EDU was started about 3 years ago, and that formed out of a need to collect people very much like us who are using new media and technology in the classroom to really revolutionize higher education. Right now there are chapters all over the country, student chapters that take place on campuses, so very similar to your American Marketing Association or PRSA. There are Social Media Club EDU chapters on campus that work with the local SMC chapters to bring in guest speakers and have different events to show students how social media could be used to get jobs, internships, how they can use it for school projects, and also how they can learn how to incorporate technology into their assignments and projects. So it's still very, very new in the works. We have Twitter chats that take place. Now they're going to be starting twice a week. Before they used to just be once. So I have more information about that. But if you follow the hashtag SMCEDU, you'll see online, very similar to EdChat, that it's this conversation that's also taking place after the chat. So it's not just during that specific time. And it's primarily in higher ed right now, but we do have a handful of members of the organization who do belong to traditional lower grades, and they're educators in middle school or high school. But I don't know if that answered your question. I hope it did. Anybody else? All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and have a good rest of your day.